as always, because y'all know I love a good yap sesh. Um, for real, for real. Um, One sec. Um, and by the way, so I want to say something too, like, um, shoot. Sorry guys, I'm so disorganized. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Um, just to be clear, so uh should I say? Maybe I shouldn't say. Maybe I should wait. Yeah, maybe I'll wait for that. Maybe I won't say that. Yeah, maybe I won't say that. Anyways, it's been a good day, yeah? I don't know. That's good. You had a great day. What did you do today? What did you do today? Guys, being no, I don't even think I should say that. I don't even think I should say that. Guys, we're going to have a really good conversation about feminism in a very shortly. I'm really loving the conversations that we've been having about feminism. Um Said gym, saw my girlfriend's kids and went for a long walk in the sun. Someone said, "Are you feeling better since last time we talked?" Um, my friend, I have never spoken to you before. Um, I don't know what you're talking about. You said me too. That's what's up. I'm glad you are. A long walk is good. Um, this skins like a good combo topic. I don't know what that means, but if you have a question, then by all means, go ahead and ask a question. Um, no, long walks in the sun are really good. I love walking. I love walking. I love walking outside. I love the fresh air, especially in autumn, or fall, whatever. My favorite time of year. It's just such perfect weather. The you can have the cutest outfit and still be comfortable and warm. And me personally, I'll wear a turtleneck all year round. Dead of winter, dead of summer, dead of fall. That turtleneck stays turtlenecking. This neck was built for turtlenecks. This neck was built for turtlenecks. And that's just what it'll do. One of these days, this neck is gonna. No, 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 no. uh, so you were feeling bad a couple of days ago about the fact that men weren't living up to their true potential and taking the lead. Um, I wouldn't say that about my personal life. I didn't say that about my personal life. Uh, Demonstrating that you feel empathy or compassion for you know, or a certain extent of sadness for the state of the world doesn't mean that I feel that in my personal relationships with people. Turtleneck's gonna, yeah. Victoria said, "You're crazy, girl." Nah, I just love a good turtleneck. It just, anyway, I play too much. Not for you, but the culture of men. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, because like right now it's just not doing what it needs to do, and like a lot of people they talk a lot of smack, but they don't actually want to go out and have families and have children and be successful. So, like at a certain point, you got to pick your poison, or you just got to let it do what it do. Because there's proof in the pudding, and actions speak louder than words. You feel me? You feel me? What can the question be related to? The question can be related to anything. Ask whatever question, and if I think it's appropriate to answer, then I'll answer it. If not, I'll just let you know, like, nah, man, I ain't gonna answer that. Said, so we did talk before. I'm glad. Oh, you're talking about on the stream. I thought you meant like you talked to me somewhere else. I was like, I never talked to you. Okay, yeah, I talked to you guys on the stream. Yeah. But I'm glad you seem like you're in a better mental space. This is where people make a very poor error in judgment when it comes to me. Just because I demonstrate that I can feel compassion towards something doesn't mean that I'm in a poor mental space. People really don't understand me. I like that, and I don't like it at the same time. The people who need to understand me, they be understanding me. But for the most part, people just assume that I'm truly emotional about things that I am not emotional about, just because I can show that I feel things towards the circumstance. It's like I can, in fact, feel very deeply about a circumstance and still separate myself from the circumstance itself and not let it affect my overall state of being. It's like, I don't understand that. I said that to someone the other day because like I was talking about I was talking about someone said when I feel bad for people and their bad decisions, my empathy makes me feel sad for them. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that your mental space is changed. Like I don't let the circumstance of other I don't think like that, man. I don't know. Like my dad just didn't raise me like that. So it's like rolling with life is supposed to give you and will come in time. The thing is, like, I was talking to someone the other day, like on my posts. And if you guys see my post the other day, I've been talking a lot about like marriage, relationships, sex, things like that. And some people will probably look at that and be like, oh, well, Kaysha's promoting sin. 100% not. Absolutely not. I, in fact, have the ability to acknowledge the feeling of something, the desire for something, the thought of something, and still separate myself from participating from that very thing. And I think most people actually fail in life in various areas and degrees because they refuse to be honest with themselves about the things that they are thinking and feeling, and they're lying to themselves. They're not lying to anyone else. Christians especially lie like crazy, and I don't understand why. It's like, you're lying about your desire to do something with somebody for what reason? Like, what is that going to do for you? You're pretending that you have some sort of God level strength. You're just out here above God and above Adam and Eve in the state of perfection. You're walking on holy ground and just broke every ceiling possible. Like, I just really don't understand that. How is it going to benefit you? And most people actually commit egregious acts and do bad things because they refuse to acknowledge what they are thinking and feeling. And that's retarded. That's like straight up retarded. That's full retarded to me. Someone said this single woman has one girl age 37 and one boy age 25. I'm 54 Ojibwe. Confess your sins one to another. Okay, yeah, except it's not a sin to feel desire. It's not a sin. There's a difference between, and this is where Christians get really uncomfortable with things that's actually, in fact, very normal. It is not a sin to feel sexual desire for your spouse. It is a sin to lust after an individual. It is a sin to engage in sex before marriage. It is not a sin to desire your future husband sexually. That is a normal thing. And if you don't do that, you don't like that person straight up and down. Like, you are a liar of monumental proportions, and you're going to use sex as a strong arm against them. What I also will say, it's so funny to me that people will be like, people will look at that sideways too. Some people are like, oh, like, what are you promoting sin? Okay, well, what are you whoring on Instagram for? Like, this is what really kills me about Christians, man. It's like, I would rather confess. I would rather confess to sexual desire for the person that I'm in love with, which is normal, which is completely normal and not even wrong. You just should not entertain or act on it. But when you genuinely love someone, that is a very hard thing to do because you genuinely love someone. But Christians will defile every other law in the Bible. Piercings, tattoos, not supposed to do it. Eating pork, the Bible says you're unclean until the evening if you eat pork or any scavengers or anything that is unclean. The laws of Leviticus. If you touch it, if you even touch the carcass, you are unclean for the end of the evening, the next evening. So then no one follows those laws. They whore on Instagram. They don't follow any of the laws of clothing that you're supposed to wear to actually be modest. So you're showing yourself off and advertising yourself in a way to loads of other people. You go to the beach, you'll wear bikinis. You're literally whoring yourself. You're like, there's literally no difference. People pick and choose their Christianity. They really pick and choose. Or you're drinking alcohol, or you're smoking cigarettes, or you're cursing. The Bible says that you should have modest speech and you should not actually use foul language. You should not engage in character assassination of other people because they say that's actually murder. Being a feminist or Jezebel mentality, that is also rebellion, which is witchcraft, devil worship. There's people pick and choose their Christianity. Either you're going to follow it all or you're going to follow none. And obviously you follow to the best of your ability. But it's like, I am not going to sit here and lie through my teeth and act like it's something that it's not. Because the women who go on and do that are the most egregious, like, terrifying women to be around, man. Because it's like, how are you going to use your Christianity to strong arm the man into submission? You can't be the leader of your house spiritually. Whatever man you marry, you have to be prepared to submit to him spiritually because you cannot lead your house. You cannot lead him in any capacity. So look at it sideways, but most of y'all are literally whoring. And that's what happens. Oh, I can wear my crop tops, I can wear my booty shorts, I can wear my pretty much thong bikinis and titties out bikinis, areolas out bikinis. This is what happens when you don't, and this is where I don't understand how people can't differentiate the difference between things. Like, people can't look at something and be like, okay, I feel this way. I might even want to do this. But because I feel this way and I acknowledge that I actually do want to do this and participate in this action, okay, what can I do to mitigate that so that I can maintain logic, moral, rationale, and respect in this situation going forward to calculate the success of everyone involved? Most people don't do that. They can't separate the two things for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's probably because they're lying to themselves and they want to act like it's something that it's not. A lot of you do a lot of things behind closed doors and publicly. It's like, just do it with your chest. At that point, I don't know. I'm the kind of person where I'm like, if you're going to do something, do it with your chest. Obviously, not everything. You don't have to go proclaiming things to the world all the time. That's not what I'm saying, because that's also retarded. But don't sit down and act like something's not what it is because you want to get away with doing something else. It's like, I can count. I don't have enough fingers to count the biblical things that you were doing incorrectly. And everyone is like that. I'm like that too, because there's a lot of things that I do that are not correct, or that I've had to change or adapt and realize, like, okay, well, I'm not doing this correctly. And again, having a father that gives you the foundation for that, and then a man to guide you in the other ways, helps those things come to reality a lot more easily for you. But that's if you want to actually sit down and acknowledge those things. It's a whole different thing. But someone said, okay, let me read these comments. Jesus did. He felt regret for shortcomings of the Jews, even though he was perfect and never did anything for the need for regret. Someone said, so true. Jesus felt regret for the actions of Jerusalem. He wanted to gather them under his wing like a hen gathers chicks. He knew that they would experience, but even though he never felt off, did anything they did, he felt regret for the sins that weren't his. How could Jesus feel for people if he was perfect? Nobody around him was perfect. Does that mean that God doesn't really understand us? So if you're like that, then the comments, I don't know. I don't.
Which one?
Why do you guys ask me these questions? I tell you to ask questions, but no, like that. That's the guy. That's the guy. The Johnny guy. I don't.
Did Jesus feel for people if he was perfect? Nobody around him was perfect.
Yeah, and then the person.
Wait a second. How do you mean you can't feel?
Yeah.
For people. They said.
That's why I said, why do you guys ask me these questions? Because that is it's like, what kind of.
Wait a second. You're telling me that somebody can't feel compassion for another person? God is in heaven and he is perfect.
He's not a sociopath. Why would he not be able to feel compassion?
Compassion for us. He feels for us because we're his children.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at too.
I mean, it is.
You're gonna feel for your children. Your children make mistakes. Even if you don't make the mistakes that your children make, you're still gonna feel compassion because they're your children. This next person said, the New Testament, Galatians, teaches that we are not under the law anymore. The dietary restrictions of Mosaic law are no longer binding. Colossians 2, yeah, that is long. That is wrong.
That's not what the Bible says.
You can do whatever you want, but that's not what the Bible says.
Pigs
don't stop being unclean. They're still filthy, by the way.
I studied this, the whole thing, and the issue in Galatians was saying that you need to be circumcised to be saved, that circumcision was salvific.
Yeah.
That was the issue. That was the dietary, because when Peter had the dream and they talked to him about that, he said that I never ate anything common or unclean.
Exactly.
And then
he directly,
what the Holy Spirit meant.
People pick and choose what parts of the verse because he literally said in the second part that he was talking about diet.
I'm not going to fight about people over diet, but I can tell you from what I read on the Bible, I look at all the texts that talk about it and I make a decision.
Yeah.
I don't look at one text, I look at all of them.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with anyone about diet. Eat whatever you want. I'm going to follow the laws of the Bible, of like the laws of Leviticus. You can do whatever you want. I'm not doing that.
I'm fully persuaded in my mind from the study of the Bible that what I'm doing is correct.
Yeah, and nobody is ever going to change my mind about
you and God.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah, no one is going to change my mind about that. Not a single soul. Someone said, you said that you can't feel for people because the problems they are going through, problems that aren't yours. I never said that. I never said that once.
Let me say something. What is it? Romans 8:3 and 4.
So you be spitting
what the law could not do, because it was weak for his flesh, God sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, so that the righteousness of the law could be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. That word in the likeness means the same as. He was. Then the Bible said that he is not ashamed to call us brethren. He came not with the nature of angels, but as the seed of Abraham. He bore our sins vicariously when he was going through Gethsemane on the cross, like as if they were his own. He had to bear what we went through so he can understand. This is why he is faithful and just to be a high priest, because he knows what the sin feels like from bearing ours, not from his own experience, but he understands us in every aspect except for the commission of sin.
Okay, guys. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm not going into the. I'm not
Here's
going in.
Johnny. I'll say this: Jesus calls sin unclean.
You
So,
didn't read what he
so
said.
he said Jesus said nothing is unclean.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
yeah. That's not. Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. I'm not gonna argue the biblical diet with anybody. I just don't care what you eat or what you don't eat. That's none of my business. I'm not here to be the Christian police, and that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone picks and chooses what part of the Bible they want to follow and what part they don't. And a lot of it is because people just want to do whatever they want to do, and they'll justify their sins. Hi, good evening, sir. To you too. Thanks for joining. Ask a question if you want. Um, People will pick and choose what sin they want to accept in their life because it makes them feel good. And as soon as someone says anything that, makes them feel some type of way, they're like, ooh, 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 ooh. Like, that one Leonardo DiCaprio, like, meme, he's like, ooh, ooh, when he whistle. And it's like, oh, I'm pointing that to you, whatever. And it's like they don't see the different degrees of separation between like certain things. It's like you really can't.
Okay, let me ask you. Somebody asked that Jesus never called anything unclean food wise, and that he cleansed all things, because this is what people mention: poisonous food. Can you eat the poisonous food? No, because it'll kill you.
People say that dogs are food.
But I mean, this is where, when people say something, be consistent and look at all of the things.
Yeah.
Because when you take the Bible, whenever I look at any subject in the Bible, I look at everything that I can find on that subject, and then I start comparing them all together, and I look at the context of everything so that I can get the full understanding of everything. I will never build one doctrine off of one verse. I look at the Old and New Testament and I put them all together. I understand what comes in as a contingency plan for sin and what did not. Because if you go back to the beginning, God gave Adam
Someone
a diet.
said that they're like the person is an atheist. They're atheist in the house. That's why.
You have to, when you sit down and look at in the Bible, God gave man a diet before sin came into the world.
Yeah, and it was a vegan diet.
And that
in
was
the Garden of Eden.
Ideal diet for man.
No one ate meat until after the flood.
Other things came in provisionally because of things, and there were consequences paid for that. But when you look at what Jesus did, and everybody has to do things according to their conscience, but telling me I'm wrong for going back to what God originally intended, it's way off base, because you're saying really what God is saying was wrong.
Yeah,
that's not about that. Every person has to do things according to their conscience, but don't tell somebody that if they followed something that God did not prohibit and that he in fact sanctioned, that they're doing wrong.
Yeah, you can't tell me that eating from the laws of Leviticus or eating from the way that God gave them the food diet in the Garden of Eden, which was vegan, you can't tell me that I'm not following what God wants. And if God gave Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden a vegan diet in perfection, and nobody ate meat until after the flood. So even after they left the Garden of Eden, no one ate meat until after the flood for provision purposes. And he permitted a certain type of meat to be eaten that was clean. You can't tell me that I'm not doing. You're saying that God in himself gave Adam and Eve and all of those people a wrong type of diet and way of life, that God pretty much set them up for failure then. And that's just not what that is. I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't care what you do with your food. You can eat whatever the hell you want. I don't care. It's not my house. It's not my problem. And this is what I'm talking about. Where
one second, I want to say something quickly. Or actually, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I'm just saying this is what I'm talking about, where people pick and choose what part of the Bible that they want to follow, and they'll look at you sideways for saying a certain thing. A lot of people actually agreed with what I said. It was mostly the men that agreed with what I said, and they were like, "Oh, I've been living this. This is true. Like, this is why my marriage ended, because this happened to me." And I'm like, "Dang, men just been knowing from time because they lived that experience and it sucks. They just couldn't say anything, or, whatever." Everyone picks and chooses, and that's what's annoying, because if you want to be a Christian, I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to smoke crack, I'm just going to say that I smoke crack. I'm not going to say, well, the Bible says it's okay for me to smoke crack. I'll just smoke crack and say, well, you know what? I have this problem smoking crack, but I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna say this, and this is the last thing that's gonna be said about the diet. Here's Johnny. Go read the entire thing about what he says, and read what Peter himself says that the Holy Spirit told him about that dream. So go ahead and read that and come back and tell me what he's saying. If what he's saying squares with what I'm saying or what you're saying. Secondly, um, I'm not here to police people about what
Yeah,
they
I
eat.
literally don't
What
care.
I am going to do, that's a God thing.
Yeah, it's none of my
Now,
business.
my main concern, and people get lost in the weeds about this, is your heart right with God.
Yeah,
Because the closer we get to Jesus, the more he's going to clear up the doctrinal issues. Because when you want to know the Bible, you want to know the truth. Because the truth teaches you who Jesus really is. And if you get something wrong, you're going to misrepresent God.
yeah.
And I want every person to understand who God is in the best possible manner. So when I start going out and getting lost in the weeds, first of all, I'm not going to tell anybody the food on your plate is going to save you, because only Jesus saves you. Right?
That's
And so
retarded. Yeah.
when you're going to love your brothers yourself, and when Jesus talked about them washing hands 7 times, and if you didn't do that, you're going to go to hell. And he was trying to tell you that sin originates from your heart, it
Yeah.
originates in your mind. This is where the defiling comes from,
Yeah.
because every action that we do comes from within our mind. Sin begins in our mind, and this is what he's trying to let people know in the Sermon on the Mount, that if you start thinking it in your head, you've already committed sin, because by the time you put your hands into it, you've already made that choice to sin.
Okay, but they're just trolling at this point, so just
I
ignore
know,
it. Just
but
ignore
I'm
all of
sitting down
that.
and saying that.
Yeah, but we don't. It's literally
That, that,
just
that
trolling because it's
I
stupid questions at
understand
this
that,
point.
but I understand what they're saying, and they're trolling it, but I'm making it very clear that this is about the heart issue. If you want to continue to do that, you're doing the same things that the Galatians were doing, that they were talking about, that this is a requirement to be saved. I'm saying that Jesus is a requirement to be saved. If you want to continue to argue that, you can go down that road of legalism, but I'm telling you that Jesus is the one that's going to save you. So if you want to talk about that, we will go forward that. Everything else will be ignored.
No, I don't want to talk about legalism. I didn't want to
That's
get
what I'm
into
saying.
that.
I said that legalism will be ignored.
Yeah. Guys, I don't want to talk about God with you, actually. I don't want to talk about God with you. I'm not even going to lie. I don't like it. I don't like questions about said, all due respect, Kaysha, you speak so confidently about sin, yet you have people coming to you in love with Bible and you responded viscerally. I'm but disappointed. Viscerally.
Okay,
Is it because
hold
I'm
on.
black that my this
No, no, no,
response
no,
is visceral?
no. Okay, classic Delta. I can see as a man what you're doing, and I'm going to call you out on it right now. And then you're coming to my daughter talking about this, and that is a height of disrespect, because I'm the one who's saying something, yet you don't address me as a man. This is not Christian behavior. End of story. Okay? You're not coming here. You're coming to pick and fight about certain things. You're not coming and talking about issues of the heart. And this is the same. I've seen this thing longer, all my whole life, longer than my daughter's been alive. I don't care. You know what I care about? Whether or not people get to know who Jesus is. You know what I care about? There are people who are dying. Picking and choosing over issues of doctrinal issues when people want to wipe every Christian off the face of the earth, is nonsense. And as a man, that's a non-issue.
And you know
You should
what?
be focusing on the people who are trying to kill us all and let God handle the doctrinal issues. Go to Jesus, he'll sort it out.
You know what though? Like I said that if like they can ask a question, if I don't want to talk about it, I'll tell them. And I said I don't want to talk about God with you, and I don't want to talk about these religious things, and I've told them many times. And it's like if you're still trying to force that conversation, it's like who's disrespecting who? Like you can ask questions, and if I don't want to talk about that, I'm just going to tell you I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to
Or,
I don't want to address those topics. I don't want to address religious topics because it's not something that if I bring a religious aspect to say why I'm doing something, that's different because I'm demonstrating this is what I was taught to do. But I'm not inviting for you to ask me doctrinal questions because I'm not here to teach you about God. Like I'm not here to convince you about God. So it's like I'm not even here. And also, especially with the diet, I said you could eat whatever you want. I'm not here to police people. I'm not here to tell people what sins that they should and shouldn't be picking on doing. I'm just saying that people enjoy picking and judging other people for making certain mistakes when they do loads of open mistakes and then just pick and choose. I'm not going to entertain um so it's like religion is the
oh,
only reason I started listening to you.
hold,
Now you're
hold,
picking and
hold,
choosing.
hold on. I'm
That's
going to
not the
sit there.
case at all.
Let me address something here. And I'm going to explain this. You're talking about doctrines.
My dad is the only one that actually comes and like
When
explains these
when
things. I don't do that.
when I know men that will eat piles of bacon and pork, and they have a better understanding of who Jesus is than people who don't eat pork because they
Yeah.
follow God to what they know. Now, I'm not going to sit down and go ahead and condemn someone. I'm looking at where they are with Jesus and encouraging them to know Jesus and who they are. Because if you're an honest student of the Bible, you're going to want to know the truth. And I'm here to sit down and say, this is what we're here to talk about. I'm not here to discuss debating doctrinal issues. If somebody wants to study something with me out on the side, that's fine. But I don't get into debates because when I look at the way that you start going on with debates, they end up causing more problems than they solve.
Yeah, but I always say that I've always said that I don't do debates with people. I don't debate people. Like I'll have a conversation and I'll let people ask questions, but I'm not going to debate anybody because I'm not here to convince people. I just share my perspective and my um experience, and that's what it is. I don't want to talk to you guys about God. I really don't want to. That's not my like I don't want to
Hold on a
debate
second.
about God is what I'm saying
Here's
actually. That's
Johnny.
actually what I mean.
If you want to go ahead and choose to go in somewhere else, that's entirely up to you. The fact of the matter is that she came on to do a stream to do something. She didn't ask to come in and have a religious conversation.
A
This is
religious
not what
debate or
she's not
conversation,
what she
yeah.
came for. Now, if there was a time where they were doing that, you want to come with questions, that's fine. But when you start forcing a conversation to something that someone didn't want to talk about, that is on you. That's not on her. So start taking responsibility, please. And if you don't want to, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
up to you. But we're done with this. Keisha,
Yeah.
continue going with whatever you're going on with.
Yeah, so you guys can like ask any other question. And again, if I don't want to answer it, I'm just going to tell you that I'm not wanting to go through that line of conversation. Um this is also why in large um why in large women on the internet like just really is so dumb sometimes. And I am clearly a woman on the internet. Um but just stuff like this. Someone said, oh, he said, okay, fine, I'm sorry. I like to talk religion. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. I don't want you to feel disrespected. I'm sorry about that. There's nothing to do with feelings. It's just the actions and the matter of the fact. And, you know, like respect is given, and when respect is given, then it's given. It's just the action, not the feeling. So, um, yeah. And yeah, so I appreciate it. Thanks. No, yeah, all I'm saying is that like in society when you're doing things and looking at things with like a certain lens, it's very interesting to me that people will, just pick and choose the things that they think are acceptable and unacceptable. And I guess that's just human nature. It is what it is. But um I'm slowly starting to not care about like a lot of those things because I just I'm caring less and less about the opinion of other people. It's not that I really cared much in general for the opinion of other people to begin with, but when I'm watching the way things are going and understanding how men perceive things, I just care. I just care less and less now about what someone is going to say or what someone's going to do, because it's like if I read your situation or your circumstance and how you're going about things, it's like, okay, well, I don't like your life anyways, and I don't agree with most of the things that you do, and a lot of the things that you do are hypocritical. So, like, why would I care if you even think that I've done something wrong? Like, the only person who I care who thinks I've done something wrong is God, the man who I lean on for support, and my father. That's literally it. Because it's like, why would anyone else's opinion matter? If he thinks I've done something wrong, then I've done something wrong. Anyone else can just suck salt. Like, I just really don't care. And I think that's what most women and people's opinion should be. The only person opinion who you should care about is the one who you want to sleep next to at night, and God. Because why else would anyone else's opinion matter? Like, it just doesn't. Because 9 times out of 10, that person is doing 10 times worse things than you. And I'm not saying to look and be like, oh, well, this person is just worse than me, so I don't care about doing bad things. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that you should even want to do bad things. I'm just saying that a lot of the things that people will say or act like is bad is actually not bad at all. And it's not actually wrong at all. It's just a lot of the ways that people approach things and the way that they do things is incorrect. Like, the outcome. Who?
You said to download the videos on X. You do that.
Oh. Where is it? Why can't you see it?
What?
Why can't you see it? Why is it just a link?
I don't know.
What the heck? I don't. What? I don't know. It's supposed to. You're supposed to be able to.
Yeah, I don't worry. So I'll look for it.
No, just send it to yourself and then you should be able. Is this your. No. Okay, go on your other account. Go to your normal account. Yeah, wait. I'm going to try on my phone and see if it's available there. 1 second, guys. No, it's just a link.
Yeah, it's being grimy.
You might have to just record it.
Yeah, which I'm gonna have to do
because
that.
I don't know why it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's doing that. A guy asked a question. If you scroll down, if you want to answer it, I personally, it's a seems like a religious question. I don't know, but that's up to you because that's not a question that I can even answer.
I mean, at the end of the day, to become a leader and be ready for a Proverbs 31 woman. I mean, you got to read the Bible. I would start with looking after what Jesus did, and kind of going through a lot of that, because you have to have a relationship with God and the foundation with God, and love Jesus more than anything else. And for that, each person is going to have that unique relationship with God. Because in John 17, verses 3, it said, this is life eternal, knowing thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent. And that word to know is gnosko, which is knowing a man knowing his wife. So you have to have that relationship. And so that is this is the biggest thing. Jesus says, if any man wants to know his will, he shall know the doctrine. So you have to come to God and get that relationship as a foundation first. That is the biggest thing I can tell anybody.
Someone said, you said in an IG reel that there is a certain type of guy that would scare you because he would hold you accountable. Could you elaborate? I'm not really scared, to be fair. Like, just to be honest, I'm not really. I don't know. In the reel, I kind of want a snack. In the reel, I was pretty much just. I don't really think about that reel very much anymore. It goes up all the time, but like, I was pretty much just talking about how women who don't. So, what did you mean when you said that? I don't even really care about that reel anymore, to be fair. I don't know. Like, I do know what I meant, but I did end the reel by saying that's why it's important to have a father who shows you what you need to do, not what you feel like doing, which demonstrates. I don't know if people missed that part of the reel, which was the ending statement of the reel, but some men commented and said, so pretty much if she doesn't have a father, I'm cooked. So like, a lot of people maybe missed that part, but I was pretty much saying that, okay, even if you do have some reservations, if you have a father who taught you to do the things you need to do as opposed to what you want to do, then you'll be fine, because you have the foundation and structure to work with the guy that you need to work with to get whatever needs to get done. Like, the fear is that for, whatever reason, that you're not going to be acceptable enough to the person, and the greatness of that person will make you feel that you just can't keep up to that. But women in a situation where they come across a man who's exceptional should also trust the man enough to think that if the man wants to be with me, then he thinks I'm also of similar value to him. And if he believes in my ability to be a future wife and mother, then I need to just trust that. That's literally what it is. They just, to a certain degree, don't trust that perhaps the man actually believes in their ability or their capacity to be a capable wife and mother, and they, by extension and even independent of that, don't believe that they have the capacity or capability to be an exceptional wife and mother. So that's really the issue. But you have to know how to just do things because you need to do them. And if you genuinely love someone, then you'll be motivated to do it as well. But I mean, there's, for first time of anything for people is going to be scary. I'm sure first time having a child is going to be terrifying, because you want to do what's right for your kid, and you also want to do what's right for your husband. So yeah, a lot of the women don't like the accountability aspect, because that person is going to push them to grow. But if you're If you've been actually submitting to a guy in a relationship, then you're going to have the growth and you're going to be happy for it after an extended period of time. And you're going to look forward to more opportunities despite how difficult it is, because you want to do what's best for that relationship, because you love that individual and you want to be the best version of yourself you can be for that individual. And that's just what it is. Someone said object relations theory is interesting. I have no idea what that is. The primary object is important. I don't know what that is. Early psychodynamics, yes. Don't know what you're talking about, man. So it said untrue wanted projections. I don't know what you mean. Exceptional how? I mean, exceptional in whatever way that guy is going to be exceptional. Each person has to decipher what that's going to be. I mean, I'm not going to say how every man should be exceptional, because every man is different. And it's not really my place to be saying what makes each individual man exceptional or not. That's not really my business or my place to do that. All I'm saying is that if a woman recognizes, for whatever reason, through, that a man does have exceptional capabilities or qualities, then if she, had certain experiences, it's going to be hard for her to think that she can match that or be. A lot of women don't understand the value of being a woman, and they've not been around men who actually value women as women. So they think that they have to show exceptionality in the same ways that men do and to be valued. And that's not the case. And then because they haven't spent very much time with men who actually value women for being women in feminine ways, then they think that when they are women in those feminine ways, that those men will devalue them and think that they're failures or be disgusted with them in some fashion or whatever. And it's not really the case. It's just more feminism and what feminism has pushed onto women in that way. Someone said, I'm sure you think your dad is exceptional. How is he exceptional to you? I mean, I went my whole life with everyone telling me my dad was exceptional and watching him do exceptional things. It's not about thinking, it's about watching the actions unfold in real time and a demonstration of character and behaviors over an extended period of time. I mean, it's nothing to do with what you think or what you feel. It's just the facts of the matter. Yeah. And aside from that, my dad also, regardless of whatever anyone thinks about, black people or whatever, I mean, he has an exceptionally high tested and recorded IQ as a child, and was taking university courses at the age of 8 years of age. So my dad has been exceptional his whole life. I mean, like, he's always been good at things. A boatload of things. If you want to know how he's exceptional, I mean, he's sitting right there. You can ask him. He is, in fact, a man, and he can delegate the value and exceptionality of a man better than I can. But I can say and see that over the course of my life, that his friends and even his enemies spoke about how exceptional he was. So, I mean, you got to be a different kind of man for your enemies to even confess your exceptionality. That's all I got to say. Someone said, I believe you. I can tell as we have this conversation. I was just curious, trying to condescend. That's interesting. Well, if he wants to answer, then he will. But we shall wait and see. I'm not gonna go there. Oh, not trying to condescend. I was just wondering your opinion. My opinion doesn't matter as much as the facts. That's my opinion. But I don't know. What I will say on a father level, my dad, a lot of people don't even grow up with their fathers. And a lot of people don't have men in their lives in general, which makes a big difference. But not only that, I mean, my dad gave up, his pre-med studies so that he could get me back from permanent ward of the crown when the government stole me. So it's like, and he was one of two to get his kids back out of permanent ward of the crown, and the other one was a woman, and it was the 90s. So it's like, a lot of men don't fight for their children, and they don't care, and they just leave them high and dry in whatever situation that they're in. And he just did what needed to be done to take care of his family regardless. And a lot of people praise me a lot. My dad had his difficult times in life, but he raised a more exceptional child than people who say and act like they are exceptional, be it through genetics or status or whatever else. It's like, or just Christian values, all the different Christian values that people want to nitpick at. And it's like, okay, well, where's your exceptionality? Because the proof is in the pudding through your children. And if you're asking what makes him exceptional, but you're a man sitting here listening to the conversation, you follow me and you watch me online, you watch my dad. So you're watching the actions, and then you're asking me to explain with words the actions of exceptionality of a man when you're witnessing in real time the legacy that he has created and the work that he has put in. So it's like, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me, because if I was going to look at someone who is great, I would see in their actions that they're great. I don't need them to tell me why they are great. That's redundant. It is redundant, and it's almost insulting. It is actually insulting. I don't like that. I know you said you don't want to be condescending, but it is a foolish thing to do, because if you look at me comparatively to the way that people raise their children in general, or the way that their children come out, regardless of how they want to do the religious arguments of this point or that point, and say that they follow this and they follow that. Okay, well, who came out with the better child, with the better legacy? Who came out with the better results in general? People throughout history, they say the winners of war write about it, but the same is true with men. I think when it comes down to families, a lot of people will concede to a man not because they like that man, but they see that that man has actually produced better results than anything they've ever seen. And that's why men are meant to teach the Bible and life and all these other things, because men are going to show in consequences to other men and in reality and circumstantial evidence why following their way of life is better than what they've been doing, because it works in practice. Actually, let's pull up the video of Vegeta and Broly. I'm going to show you why men are the ones to do this. Yeah.
No, you mouth breather! You have been ignoring your king!
What is a king to a god?
And what is a god to a non-believer?
Do you believe now?
So cool.
So yeah, that's how men show that they have exceptional capability. They don't use words, they use actions. And when the action hits them so blatantly in the face, they can't deny it anymore. They just sit there and have to be like, yeah, I believe now. I didn't believe, but now that it has so blatantly punched me in the face, I have no choice but to believe. Someone said you had a hard life. From what I saw, what you posted, he did do the work to get the results. It first seemed like it was just lip service, like most people. It doesn't. Things can't be made to seem obvious. You have to have discussion. Many people tell me I'm exceptional. I have an IQ of over 140, but that doesn't necessarily translate as anything special if you don't value the things I said to be special. My father has an IQ higher than 140. No offense. In fact, my father's IQ is so high it make sorry. Anyways, never mind.
Yeah.
But anyways, regardless, no. And even that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The thing is, if that's the case, then you should be able to look at circumstances and just see, like, is what it is. Wait. Wait a second. I think someone said once, you can know the greatness or the strength of a man by the strength of his enemies. And higher than Jesus, who was murdered? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. If you have a certain level of exceptionality, then you'll know that based on the kind of enemies that a man has, or the strength of his enemies, and the range, I guess, of his enemies as well. And I think that even speaks for itself. Wait a second. Someone said she never ever said that. Thank you. I did not say that. I would never say that. You said exceptionality, I feel, comes from submission to the Most High. It seems to all stem from that. Your gifts are ignited when you receive and adhere to the instructions regarding proper stewardship from God. I agree. That's what I was going to say next, actually, that your service to God is what makes you exceptional. So that's my point. His IQ was that of God, and his ideas and beliefs weren't valued. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Yeah, I didn't say that. No.
One thing I'll sit down and say this. The more that I learn and more that I understand, the more that I believe God, because it makes more sense. And the reason why I'm able to do what I do is because no matter how smart I think I am, I know nothing in comparison to God. So I sit at God's feet and I ask Him to teach me like I'm a 2-year-old child.
Yeah.
Because I'm lucky to even be that point in comparison to God. God's the ultimate mastermind.
That's why I said the IQ doesn't actually even matter.
You can't beat God. That is the bottom line. So my mission in life is to know more about what God really wants and the truth. Because I care more about the truth than being right. Because when I know the truth about God, it means I have a better relationship with Him. And I will serve Him better. And so I will always pursue what the truth is because I love God. And in the same way, a man should take that relationship and pursuing the knowledge of God is the same way he's going to pursue understanding his wife. And this is how he translates this to his family. This is why the man must represent God to the family, because he understands these things. Because I become a better servant to God by trying to understand Him more and more each day. Like I will be a better husband to my wife and a better father to my children by learning all I can about them to make their lives better. And this is where the man has that obligation under God to humble himself and sit at His feet and learn about God so that he can teach those around who are most important to him.
Yeah, someone said, Dad spitting bars. I'm glad your dad said that. Yeah, thanks to you two people, or you two guys. Someone said, girl, what's your skincare routine? Honestly, I literally just wash my face with water. I don't have a skincare routine. I wash my face with water. Sometimes I'll put olive oil on it to moisturize it. Sometimes I'll put cocoa, or shea butter or cocoa butter, like that brown lotion bottle. I think it's like, it's not St. Ives, it's something else. It's like, I forget the brand, but I try not to use it too much because, like I told you guys before in a different stream, like I don't like raw shea butter or raw cocoa butter. yeah, raw shea butter smells disgusting, but like the one in the actual lotion bottle, that brown one, smells really good, but I just don't know, like, I don't like the chemicals or whatever in lotion, because I'm like, what the hell is lotion even? Like, what is lotion? So, bro said I knew it. No, but sometimes, I don't know, like, sometimes I'll use it if I don't have, like, olive oil, like, right on hand. But I literally just use water. Because I just don't like chemicals on my face, because, like, my skin is really sensitive. And most of the stuff that people use on their face, I feel like when I put it on my face, it makes my skin break out. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's supposed to, like, help. And they're like, no, that's supposed to happen. I'm like, why is it supposed to happen? Why is my skin supposed to break out when it says it's supposed to clean my skin? Like, I didn't have this before, and now I have this now. And I just don't have yeah, that's the Vaseline brand. You're so right. You're so right. That's, yeah, the Vaseline brand. And I use, like, Vaseline, like, for everything. Like, I put it on my lips and my eyelashes. I don't know. It just looks pretty to me. It, like, gives me, like, the vibe of lip gloss when I don't have lip gloss, because I am a crackhead for lip gloss. I know that lip gloss is probably bad. I've actually been not using lip gloss because of the chemicals, but I know there's probably chemicals in Vaseline, but you get the point. Like, yeah, the Vaseline lotion is probably better. That's like the cocoa butter or shea butter one that I use or whatever. All natural, yeah, that's what's up. And I don't know, I just feel like, what is lotion? Like, what is it? I don't know what it is. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't know what the hell lotion is. And yeah, Vaseline contains petroleum, but hey, I'm still alive. So, I got to pick my poison again. Like, if one day I come up with, it's so funny, it says dermatologist tested. You know, the guy who created Vaseline actually used to eat spoonfuls of it and tell people that it would heal them. And he was like, he was bent on that idea, and he would eat, like, spoonfuls of Vaseline. He said a carcinogen. Well, hey, like, then I'm just gonna die. I don't know a black person who got skin cancer before, just saying. No offense. So that's disgusting. Eating Vaseline is disgusting. I don't know how or why he done that, but he said, I'm not surprised.
Trying to show that his product was good.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to show his product was good, my dad said. But yeah, still nasty. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, and then at the end of the day, if my skin is not, like, as nice as the people who use those products that it works on their skin, then if I'm ugly or whatever, then, someone will come along and just, they'll like my face the way it is. And that's just what it's going to be, I guess. I don't know. Like, at least I'm wearing my natural face. I don't know. Philosophical question, like, what, man? Niacin releases that through sauna. I don't go to saunas because I don't trust the engineering almost anywhere. So I would not go to a sauna. I don't use saunas, at least. I mean, natural hot springs, like, I've been to in Canada, but nah. If you could fix one thing, what would it be? Like, what do you mean? Like, fix one thing about what? How does one overcome lust? You're a man. Dad, you want to answer his question?
Spend time with Jesus.
Lust? I don't understand that, though, because I don't lust after random. I don't lust after people. I don't lust after random people or people.
You have to start changing what you're doing.
No, but first of all, let's describe what lust is. What's the definition? Let me pull up the definition of lust, because I need to do this very methodically now. What is lust? Okay. Lust is an intense desire or craving, most commonly referring to a strong sexual urge, but also used for other powerful longings like lust for power of life. Unlike love, which involves deep emotional connection, lust is primarily physical, driven by physical attraction and hormonal factors. It can be seen as a natural, though often temporary, instinct that can be managed or can be viewed negatively as a sin that dehumanizes another person by focusing solely on their sexual utility. Yeah, I don't lust after people. I don't have that problem. So I don't know how someone would overcome that. Because lust is not to do with love. It's like you're literally just using someone for sexual utility. That sounds like what the feminists do when they treat their husband or the other people in general, like men in general. They see them as sexual utility. And then that sounds like the women that say the man must be 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches, and 6-pack. That's lust. Is it not?
Yeah.
Because that's making somebody through physical attraction. That's what it says. Through physical attraction, using them for sexual utility. It has nothing to do with love or emotion or connection. Yeah, honestly, someone said fasting and prayer is how you overcome lust. Maybe. I've never had a problem with lust.
Well, yeah.
I've never had a problem with lust.
Well, if you're lusting after, for example, women, you need to change what you're doing. You need to not, for example, if you're lust after women, then you should probably kill the Instagram.
But right? How are you feeling sexual utility for people you have no emotion for? Because how are you looking at loads of women and thinking about sexual utility for those, like, when you I don't know, maybe Jesus I'm stupid.
Said that if you had looked at a woman and wanted to commit adultery with her or fornication, you've committed the sin of adultery. You've lust after
adultery is not lust.
Wanting to have sex with someone that is not your wife is lust.
That's not adultery. That's fornication. Unless it's someone's wife, then it's adultery.
No. Adultery is sleeping with someone who's not your spouse. If you're married,
adultery is cheating, man.
Yes, if you're not married,
fornication is sex outside of marriage.
Listen. Fornication falls under the sin of adultery. Adultery means that you're sleeping with someone who is not your spouse. If you're married,
yeah, but it's not lust to have a desire for someone you love. Lust is something that comes from
I'm not talking about somebody you love. You can listen.
But that's why I'm saying, how do you have lust?
If you're watching on Instagram and you're seeing all these women on Instagram, I want to sleep with that one.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, how do you even? Okay, I understand the outcome. I'm saying, how do you even get to that place to be having the lust? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand, because I don't look at men who, even if they're like physically fit, or they have, like, even if they're, the girls say 6 foot 6 inches, 6-pack, 6 figures, or whatever, I couldn't care less. I don't give a damn. Like, I don't look at men and think I would love to sleep with that guy. Like, I just can't think that way.
Men are visually wired, so what they see is going to trigger them.
Yeah, but do you not also think when you see the woman, even if she's attractive, what if she has AIDS? Like, how can you feel lust when you think logically, okay, this girl could have AIDS?
When you start
that's all I think when I see random people. Like, what if they have AIDS?
Getting into those type of things, you're gonna start engaging in more risk-taking behaviors.
Yeah, someone said
that you want to gratify your lowest passion.
Someone said the utility concept answers that question, but no, it doesn't, because I can't think of utility if I'm also thinking in the back of my mind, what if this person has herpetogonosyphilates? That completely removes the ability of utility, because if you think logically and practically, that you have no clue who that person is, or what mess they're involved in, or what kind of nonsense they're doing, what kind of Tom, Dick, and Harry they're involved with as well. So it's like, how does your brain get to the place if you're also considering all the circumstances that could be there? So it's like, how do you even, this person's like laughing and crying at the same time. Someone said adultery is sexy outside of marriage with your spouse or the spouse of another. No, adultery, that's not adultery.
it's adult. Okay, you have to understand this conceptually. This is why the Jews had a problem. The Ten Commandments cover every sin. Every sin is tied to one of those commandments. This is how you have to understand this fundamentally. And then see, the
Guy
Jews,
said you assume risk. Utility has no care to risk.
um, the
Yeah.
the Jews were like, okay, well, if I'm gonna sleep with someone before I get married, then I'm not committing adultery. Like this is where they went.
Wait. What did you just say?
They would say that if I slept with someone before I was married, I'm not committing adultery because it's sleeping with my spouse. But
No, you're committing sex outside of marriage. That's still a sin.
it's still the sin of adultery because adultery.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying,
literally
yeah, it's a
means
sin.
Sleeping with someone who is not your spouse
Yes, it's a
is
sin.
adultery. That means even when you go and touch yourself, you are still committing sin.
Yes, that is
by
still a
yourself.
sin.
Because then you're now lusting after someone while you're doing this.
Lust is without love, though.
Yeah, so people watch pornography and go play with themselves. They're committing sin.
That's pornography.
But I'm saying in the act there's still lust.
But if you have sex with someone outside of marriage that you love, that can't be lust. Lust is when there's only sexual utility, like it's only utility.
If you love that person, why wouldn't you not make a lifelong commitment to them?
I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not even justifying sex outside of sin. I'm just saying that there's a distinction between lust.
Yes,
and
person that's
someone said having no self-control causes one to sin easily. Yeah, it's a self-control. When a woman ovulates, she's more sexually aroused than normal. Take that peak and multiply by 10 for men in a normal day. Are you serious? Maybe I can't think that way, like
men and women think about things differently.
Yeah, physical. Someone said a semantic argument. I don't know what that means. Someone said I'm hella confused right now. I'm confused too. Christ said, if you look upon a woman to lust after her, then you've already committed adultery in your heart. That's true.
That's
exactly I'm looking at the definition and trying to make a distinction because I'm trying to understand. Because the person said, how do you fix the issue? But I'm like, I don't understand the issue because the definition says that you only use the person for sexual utility, and I don't understand that. I don't think like that. I don't think I've ever thought like that, to use somebody for sexual utility or just look at them and be like, this person is just a sexual tool to me. That's weird. To each their own. Everybody. But then again, sex outside of marriage is adultery. And then if you've thought about that about someone, then you've committed adultery in your heart. So then it's adultery, but then it's still different to lust. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. Someone said that's a moral question. Yeah, it is. Not a physical desire. Yes, very much. That's the norm for men. We have way more testosterone than women. Women have peak testosterone when ovulating, still way less than men, obviously. Yeah, men have loads of testosterone. But it's not the sexual desire I'm confused about. It's the utility part. The looking at somebody that you're not in love with and just looking at them for sexual utility. That's the part that I'm confused about. Someone said, wait, it's already a sin to think about doing it. That's what the Bible says. If you think about doing it. Okay, and the thing is...
Okay, listen. It's like, if you're gonna go to some woman, like you say you're looking on Instagram and you see some woman, you're like, I want to just go and...
But I don't understand that. I'll just look at
You're not going to understand it. You're a woman. This is how men think.
I'm not going to say you're not going to look at a man and feel desire, but you have to love that man to, like, as a woman, to feel desire.
No,
I'm not going to look at a random man's body and be like, oh, I want to get off. Like, that's weird.
A woman. A man is going to look at a woman. Men see women and they get turned on. This is why
it's crazy.
Women do wear those things to get things out of men because they use that to manipulate them. So if a man is going to go and look at somebody and say, I want to go and just slam that woman, you've just committed adultery because the intent was in your heart. Because if the opportunity presented itself, you would.
But if you know the person and you're gonna marry the person, and you feel desire towards the person, that's normal.
This is not what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm confused about the utility versus the feeling
to do something, right? It's not the thought came across your mind and saying, okay, I'm going to restrain it. This is where you have sit down and said, I want to do this, and I'm going to do this if I have the chance.
No, but you should understand that. No, you should 100% understand that, because if you're in a relationship with someone and you know that you want to sleep with them, you should acknowledge that so that you don't put yourself in the situation to do that.
This is not what I'm talking about.
So then what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying.
They don't give a damn, and they're going to go and try and do it.
Okay, no, but you can't do that.
Or in your mind, they're just going to mentally go ahead and do that, which you cannot do. You have to still restrain yourself. You can't just sit down and say, in my mind, I'm just going to fantasize about doing that all the time. You got to have some self-control.
Yeah, but you have to, I don't know what you're saying, man. Because I feel like you just have to acknowledge that to avoid it.
You acknowledge that you look at the person, you say that they're attractive, and I can't put myself in a position to go in and have sex with them. But this is not what they're talking about.
So what are they talking about?
Going through in their mind all the details and saying that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. This is what happens. This is what they're talking about. If you go out and you're like, I'm going to go and do whatever to that person.
But if a thought crosses your mind and you just put it away, I mean, I don't know, man.
James talks about this.
I guess we've all committed adultery then.
No, the book of
in
James,
our heart and in our minds.
The book of James comes and he says this, and he explains that it's not the thought that enters your mind; it is when you begin to cherish it. He goes, then you get carried away with it in your mind. This is what the book of James talks about. So, the thought coming across your mind isn't sin, but when you sit there and dwell on it and you look at it, and you're like, yes, I really want to do this, and continue to play that back through your mind, you're sinning.
Okay, but I can acknowledge that I want to do it and not do it.
Yes, but there's
and just make things in place so that I just don't do it.
But there are men that look at things and they commit in their heart.
At the same time,
they want to do this.
Yeah, but I have to acknowledge that I want to do it so I don't do it.
No. This is not acknowledging that you want to do it, but you're not. This is saying I want to do it and I would do it given the opportunity.
Most people would. That's why you don't put yourself in the situation to do it.
It's not saying that you're going to not put yourself in that position. They don't give a damn because they would do it. They would make the opportunity to do it if they could.
You're saying that they would create the circumstances to do it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not talking about that.
They're laying out a plot in their mind how they.
Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying acknowledging it so you lay out the plan not to do it.
You would not control yourself. You would just go ahead and do it. You would you're basically saying, I want this. I would do it. I don't care.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, Kate. Someone said, that's a weird question, man.
What would bother you? I don't know. About
no, not that. Someone said, women control sex. Sounds hot AF. That's feminism. Women controlling sex is feminism, and that's abuse. No one should control sex. Sex should be a bonding for a moment for you and your spouse or whatever. Someone said, do you want to have or get married more? Do you want to sleep with someone more or get married more? That's not my point. I obviously want to get married. I'm talking about people acknowledging. The only way that you can avoid something is if you acknowledge the problem. You can't mitigate a problem if you act like it doesn't exist. So if you sit there and act like you don't have a sexual attraction to the person that you're with, first of all, why would you be with someone that you have no sexual attraction to? That's how women end up playing their husband in marriage and also committing infidelities against them. What I'm saying is, if you acknowledge that you have a sexual attraction to the person that you want to marry, then you will never put yourself in the environment where you give yourself the opportunity to fall to that feeling. Not that the other person would do it or that you would do it, or, you just don't give yourself, you can't, the Bible says you're not supposed to put yourself in a situation to be tempted. So why would you put yourself in a situation to be tempted? You want to get married, but the only way for you to do something successfully is to acknowledge where the potential problem can be and then mitigate it so it doesn't ever happen. That's how you abstain from problems and then just don't do them. You can't just be out here like feeling things for people and then seducing them and doing like all manner of like evil. That's just insanity. I don't know. That's why I was trying to understand what the distinction is. I don't know what eliminative materialism is. Someone said, what kind of Christianity do you believe in? Are you Catholic? Then someone said projection. That's so funny. Men had multiple wives in time past. The concept of lust for men in culture today is a vestige of that primal or cultural thing, perhaps. Why can't he just sleep with his one wife all the time? Like, I don't care what people do. I really don't care. If someone wants to have multiple wives, that's their business. I'm not going to do that. I will never do that. That's just not for me. If someone else wants to do that, power to them. That's between them and God. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. No one will ever convince me to do that. You said that's the point. Men want to have sex more than they want to get married. Oh, I didn't read that part. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wanting to have sex more than you want to get married is insanity. It's backwards. I don't understand that. Because I want to have a family and dedicate my life to someone more than I want to, like, that. Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, I think if you're realistic, if you love someone, anyone is going to want to sleep with the person that they love, but I don't think that you're going to want to sleep with someone more than you want to build a life with them. I just don't think that's rational, because it's like you're going to want to sleep with someone more than you want to build a life with them. So you're going to throw away building a life with them just so that you can have a moment of sex with them. That's weird. That's weird. That's not even long-term gratification. That's like instant gratification. It seems like an addict mentality. I don't know. It sounds like that to me. Someone said EM is the idea that some common concepts do not exist. Oh, I don't understand. Johnny said that's the difference between men and women. Is that true?
Which?
He said that men want to have sex more than they want to get married. But I said that you're not going to, that's not long-term satisfaction. It's instant gratification.
Having a bunch of sex without being married is not conducive to forming stable families. It is not, it creates a lot more problems and chaos because the more women you have. But people who want more sex and actually carry through with it are the ones that are weaker to their lower passions.
But the Revolution said marriage is sex in the Bible. It's the covenant, not the contract of the governments. That's true. If you had sex with someone in the Bible, you were married to them. And Jesus told the one girl that she had 5 husbands because of that.
Yes, but the thing is that
as soon as you have sex with someone, you are married to them.
They do have a ceremony before God, because there is a marriage, because God set the example. But sex is how you consummate the marriage.
Yeah, but that's the contract. That's the contract. The sex is pretty much the contract, not the government contract.
The consummation of the contract that you make before God.
That's what I'm saying. The consummation of the marriage, which is after the ceremony, the sex that you have after the ceremony to consummate the marriage, that's the contract. Is it not?
It's basically, let's say, The sealing of the deal.
That is the sealing. Okay, the sealing of the deal is sealing the contract. So it's like that's not the government contract. So if you have, and this is also where I kind of, I don't agree with like the way the government involves in marriage, to be fair. But if you have a ceremony, a church ceremony with someone, and you go and consummate your marriage, or you have a pastor that marries you under your favorite tree, I don't know, in your flower garden of roses, I don't know, your backyard, say you get married that way, people have done it, that's why I'm saying that people have done it, and you go and consummate your marriage, you're married in the eyes of God, even if you don't sign the paper with the government. However, you are required to sign the government paper. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. By God's standard, you're still going to be married if you have the ceremony and consummate your
But
marriage.
God also tells you that you should go ahead and follow.
The laws of the land. That's why I said you're
Yes,
required to
and
sign the paper because
do
the
you,
laws of
do
the
you know
land
why
require it.
you know why the civil governments were formed?
To bend men over.
No, because people refuse to follow the laws of God, and if they did not have the
Oh, I
civil
thought you were talking about
penalties
marriage.
for the marriage and made it difficult for that divorce, women would be just going out of control. I'm not even gonna lie. With the way that people are like, oh, we can go in and out of marriage, they would just do it.
Oh, 100% they would do it. They'd just be switching back and forth
And
very
then,
easily.
then predatory men would be, yeah, I'm done with you. I'll just go to somebody else.
Well, they're doing that though.
And the wicked people will just, they have more leeway to do evil.
Someone said everyone is different though. Some women have more libido than others. What does that have to I don't understand what you're getting at with that. Because yeah, that's true, but like what is that in relation to, man? You said it's not rational, it's not beneficial, that's just men. Okay, with them wanting sex more than they want marriage. Okay, well then I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and that's just the hardship that men have to overcome, the way that women have to overcome their desire for like power and control and like pride or whatever. Everyone has their burden or their cross to bear, I guess. I don't know. Like, and I'm not going to say that feeling lust is worse than, something else, because pride is the worst sin actually. It literally created the devil from Lucifer to Satan. So I don't look at it any type of way. I'm just not the kind of person who's going to look like at a stranger and be like, this person has sexual utility for my body. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me because I'm not a man and I can't understand. But someone said my marriage does not belong to Caesar. Premonta was once the law of the land. I don't know what that means. And since it's not beneficial to just have sex with anybody for men, but the biology of men is men would have sex as much as they could, but women would rather be in a committed relationship. But being a committed relationship doesn't mean that you can't sleep with your wife as much as possible, unless you're saying that men would rather sleep with a multitude of men. Men would rather sleep with a multitude of women all the time as much as they could.
What people are considering people's biology is their fallen nature.
Fallen nature, yeah.
And the weaknesses that people have. We have two natures. We have the godly nature and we have the fallen nature, and they're warring with each other. This is what Paul talks about in Romans chapter 7. So
yeah, but
we have to war against our flesh.
Yeah, but it's not like women don't also want to sleep with loads and loads of men.
Yeah.
Women have the same desire to be praised by loads and loads of men, which is why they go around taking as much emotional intimacy and then thereby sexual intimacy from men, because they want to control men. So the way that men have the desire to go sleep with loads of women, women have the desire to control as many men as they can via desire and attention, which means that they do to some degree have to elicit the potential of sex or actually have sex with them. And that's the fallen nature because of what Eve done. So it's like that can't be an excuse, because it's not an excuse for women either. Like, either you're gonna do that and have debase and debauchery, like just degenerate behavior, or you're just gonna follow what God tells you to do. Again, to each their own. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I can't be the God police, or the sin police. Like, I just don't care enough to do that. Someone said Premanocta was the king could deflower when the king could deflower the bride on her wedding night. Everyone has sex on their wedding night, so I don't understand what the difference is. Someone said, what's your opinion on Jordan Peterson, Kaysha? I don't know why everyone asks me this question all the time, but he's Canadian and he was pretty cool. Like, you know, like he was one of those based Canadians. I met his daughter in Arizona, and it was actually kind of funny because, like, I was at the what's his name? James O'Keefe after party thing after it was a TBUSA event, Amfest. Charlie Kirk was running, and in Arizona. And then James O'Keefe had an after party. I was invited to go there, so I went with some people that I went to the event with. And then I was just chilling by the bar. I don't drink, but, like, you know, that's where everybody was. And then she just, like, walked by, and as she walked by, I was like, wait a minute, are you? And then she stopped, she turned around, she's like, yes, I am. And I was like, this is such a movie right now. But, like, then I was like, oh, you should totally come on, like, my show or whatever. And she was like, send me a message, a DM on, like, X or whatever. And so, like, I sent her a message. I don't know, like, how many DMs she gets. Maybe she didn't see it. I don't know. But I think Jordan Peterson's wife even, like, follows me on X. And, like, I've spoken to her. But I don't know Jordan Peterson, but, like, I agree with some of the things that he talks about and says. I don't follow closely everything he does, but, like, some of the things that he's said and I've agreed with, you know. But yeah, so that's my only experience with the Petersons. I think I seen that he was, like, sick, and I don't know what's going on with that very much, but I hope that he recovers, because it's terrible. I saw his daughter mention something about, like, the air quality or something at some point somewhere. I don't remember the post or whatever, but I mentioned something about my dad mentioning the importance of engineering, mechanical engineering, for that reason of what she was discussing. And a lot of people are going to have problems and continue to have problems because a lot of things are going messed up with engineering that nobody's really dealing with or nobody really wants to talk about. So I'm not too sure about the details of, you know, the situation. So I don't want to speak too much on it, but yeah, I don't really know them, but my only short, small interactions with them were, like, normal. So, you know, like, I don't have anything against the Petersons. Yeah. Said Michaela Peterson sounds pretty chill. She's pretty chill. She's pretty chill. She was funny, man. I don't know. It was just funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, a Canadian. I don't know, because it was in Arizona, right? So I was like, wow, a rare snow Mexican. So yeah, it was kind of cool. He said, whoa, you met his daughter? Yeah, I did. I've met a lot of people, man. You'd be surprised how many people I've actually met face to face. But it's not a big, like, they're people. Like, they're not, like, they're just people. She's just another Canadian. She's just another woman who has a family, whose father does things that, you know, people appreciate. It's just like, she's a human being. Like, she's not an object. She's a human being. And I think it's weird. People should treat people that are in the spotlight like human beings, because that's really all they are. Treating them like anything less than a human being actually is a huge disrespect to them. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, it's actually extremely weird and disrespectful to treat people like they are not human just because they're in the spotlight. Like it's like the lust that we're talking about, the lust and the obsession, and it's like it's really degrading. That's the word I'm looking for. It's really degrading. And I don't know how I would be able to handle that, because like when I went to New York, I go to events and stuff and people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I follow you online. Can I get a picture with you?" And I'm like, "How do you follow me and know me? I still have a fairly small page. Like, this is weird. I don't think I would be able to handle like loads and loads of people coming up to me all the time like, "Oh my gosh, can I get a picture with you? Like, I know you." I went to New York, a random church in New York. When I was like there one weekend, I drove in for just the Sabbath, just so that I could attend church. And this person at the church recognized me and was like, "Oh my gosh, I know you. Like, I follow you online. Oh my gosh." And I was like, and it was a dude. I was like, how the hell, random church in the middle of New York, how do you know me? But it's like that really like freaked me out because I didn't expect it. And I've had that happen to me a few times. And I was like, no, 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 no. I don't think I'd be able to handle it if loads and loads of people, because you don't feel human when people do things that like that to you. It'd be cool. It's cool when someone comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, hey, like I appreciate some of the stuff you're doing. Like, hey man, that's what's up." But people don't go about it that way. They just like it seems like degrading, if I was saying. And I know this, the people don't mean it that way maybe, but it is a strange experience. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to handle like all that all the time. I'm too introverted for that, to be fair. Someone said, ultimately, I'm saying these things are natural. Romans 14:14. It is assumed to him who cause a sin, but to him who is not a sin, it is not a sin. No, because like adultery is a sin regardless. Like in entertaining adultery, entertaining lust is a sin regardless. So, and again, I can't look at lust one way and another thing a different way, because I just, like just because I don't look at a random person and like lust after them doesn't mean I'm not going to be prone to doing something else. So like I could really care less. But it doesn't, just because it's not sin to me doesn't mean it still wouldn't be sin if I done it. Like I don't know what you're trying to say, but
I just wanted to say something. Somebody said something about the carnivore diet, and I just want to
I
say,
don't.
I just want to say, anybody who does anything to any extreme, you're probably doing something that's going to harm you. I don't care what it is. It could be the best thing for you. You can't have too much of any one thing. Like if I ate, for example, oranges all the time, which are healthy, if I ate them all the time, I would probably cause myself harm, because you need other things.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're just eating meat, I would say you're gonna do some damage. Eat other things with it. Right? That's just, it's common sense, but
Someone said, "What do you mean, Kaysha? I'd love to take a pic with you if I met you on the street." Yeah, that's cool, man. But like when Victoria put the orange, that's so funny. Entertaining adultery is a precursor to sin. Yeah, exactly. But that's why I said you can't entertain it. You have to acknowledge your desires as an individual and then create the plan to avoid doing certain things. I don't know. That's just how I think. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know. That's just how I think. You might want to take a picture or whatever, but it's like when you show up to a church you've never been to before in a random city, and then someone just recognizes you.
New York.
And like New York, when you like a huge place like New York, I'm like, bro, what are the odds? Like, the odds are so slim. And it's like, if someone, I've gone to events and people done the same thing, just randomly walk up to me that, I don't know them at all. And I'm just like, yo, how do you know me? But it's like, I put myself out there, like, online, so like people are going to know me. But it's just a really something that takes you back. It's like, oh, whoa, that's kind of not expected, that. um and I think I have a fairly small account. I know, like, quite a few of the things I've done gone viral, but like, I still have a fairly small account, in my opinion. So I don't know, but I've done a lot of things and met a lot of people at the very, very top. So, like, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised, but I don't know. It's just weird. And the way that, like I said, it's the way that people go about it. Because if someone comes up to you, they're like, hey, like, love what you're doing, whatever, that's cool. That's different because they're like coming up to you like, respect, man. Like, like, I respect what you're doing. Someone comes screaming at you, like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, 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 whoa. Who. Let's take several steps back, please. Some people, like, even going to like events and like, or speaking and things like that, and people will feel just so inspired by you, or like they love what you're doing or whatever, and they get really emotional about it, so they come up to you with loads of emotion, and they'll like be hugging you and trying to kiss you and all these things, and it's like, like, I'll give you like a hug, glad that God has inspired you through, some of the things that I'm doing or saying. But I'm very introverted, and I don't typically get very close to people. If it's my choice and I'm in an environment where I can truly just be myself, I'm in the corner, I'm not talking to anyone, and I'm certainly not going to shake anyone's hand or talk to them. If I'm at an event and I'm on a mission, then I will just let people do whatever they want to do. Like, if you want to shake hands, it's like, okay, shake hand, and because that's business, you have no choice. You have to, like, like, be respectful and blah blah blah. Um. So it said, you do not have control over anything that you do. So once you've made peace with this, the guidance from the Holy Spirit will guide you. Do not vow an oath because you do not have control. Are you saying that I shouldn't say that I'm going to say? Are you saying I shouldn't say that I'm not going to do something because I don't have the control in and of myself not to do it? So I should just trust the Holy Spirit. I see what, if that's what you're saying, then I can see what you're saying. At the same time, I need to plan. I am a planner. I don't like to make mistakes. I don't accept mistakes. If I make mistakes, I give myself severe consequences. I just can't handle, in my mind, accepting the fact that I'm doing a mistake and that I've done a mistake, or that I'm not prepared to mitigate a mistake. If I make a mistake, I will cut myself off entirely from whatever was associated with the mistake. Like, if I made the mistake of sleeping with someone before marriage, I would certainly probably cut myself off from the person completely. Not because that's the right thing to do, but because I would be like, I don't deserve good things. I've made a mistake, and I clearly cannot handle doing this the right way, so I need to cut myself off entirely to maintain respect and order for myself and the other person. Now, that would be me making a decision by myself, which is probably not fair. And I do actually think, logistically, if you plan to marry someone and you do make the mistake of sleeping with them before marriage, you should probably marry them. I just can't accept mistakes for myself. I would not forgive myself.
I just want to respond here to hear Johnny. Here's Johnny. So says, what about manna? Well, God gave the Israelites manna. They didn't just go ahead and arbitrarily choose this. And this is the difference. If God gives you something, he's going to give you what you need to supply your needs. But when a human being just arbitrarily decides to go out and do something by themselves, it's not going to work out the same way. God knows what he's doing, right? We are like that little toddler that is walking towards the stairs at breakneck speed, not knowing that we're going to go down head first, right? So that's the difference.
Yeah. So it said, is it really weird? Victoria said it's weird. Someone I said, is it really? I mean, we follow her, and if you saw her in real life, would it be weird? She said, kinda weird. So what do you? Oh wait, it's not weird. It's just the way people approach it is weird. To be fair,
Approach what?
approaching you, like when they see you and they know you from online, and and then they're like, oh, I know you, I follow you online, I know you. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, thanks, great. Uh, um, wait. Saw them at Central Park. What? Nobody's perfect. Mistakes are just steps tone for success, bro. I get it, but I can't handle my own mistakes. That's my problem. I cannot accept my own mistakes. I don't want them to be there, and they make me very angry. So it's like, if it's there and I've not fixed it, I just feel like, I don't know, if I feel like I have not fixed it, or I can't fix it, or I can't be around it, then I'll just completely cut it off. I'll just be like, no, I can't handle this, and I can't have good things, so like, goodbye. And I'll sacrifice the whole thing. I don't know. That's how I deal with problems. This isn't religious, strictly philosophical. God gave Israel. Oh, okay, you already answered that. All or nothing mentality. Yes, I have a very all or nothing mentality. I'm not gonna lie. That's my personality. I'm very all or nothing. That's what I said. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it with my chest. I'm gonna do it all the way. So if I want to do something wrong, I'm just gonna do it. Not that I'm gonna go out of my way, but it's like, I'll just accept the fact that I've done something wrong. I'm not gonna hide the fact that I've done something wrong. I might do something not realizing, and then once I realize, I'm like, oh shoot, okay, I done it. Okay, I just have to accept that I've done something wrong, and now I have to find out how I can fix it. But yeah, I don't know, I have a very all or nothing mentality. Perhaps it's not good. In some capacity, it's probably not good, but more often not, for me, I think it's good because it helps me function. I don't know. When's your birthday? It doesn't matter. My birthday doesn't matter. When's your birthday? Oh. Victoria going back and forth is so funny. Wait. Carp? What is carp? Oh, June 17th. That's what's up. What's your favorite movie? I don't really watch TV or movies, but I think my favorite movie has to be maybe the legendary Broly, or the legendary, I forget how they say it, but like the Broly movie. I like the Broly movie. I like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not gonna lie. But on a Christian level, or sentimental level, I think The Sound of Music is one of my favorite movies, or My Fair Lady or something. My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, and I used to like Sister Act, but Whoopi Goldberg is on a madness. So like, they're coming out with another one. I can't even rate the Sister Act anymore. But I liked Sound of Music. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Da, da, da. Or the Edelweiss. Edelweiss. Yeah, it was a beautiful movie, I think, because this girl who like she was a nun and then she ran away. She was always like her own kind of thing, which is kind of funny, but she meets this guy who obviously doesn't seem very interested in anything, but she's like a nanny pretty much for the kids. But then they fall in love. They fall in love, and then she realizes that she like also can fall in love. I don't know. Like she was very much. They were both kind of standoffish in different ways, but like he hated music, and then her love for music made him love it back, and then her love for
He
his
hated
children.
music because
His wife.
died.
I know that. I was getting there. You ruined it.
Okay, sorry.
He always skips. He doesn't let me like enjoy the moment. He always has to expose the circumstances before just letting me sit in the emotion. Just let me enjoy emotion. No, just kidding. Prince of Egypt is good. I really love Prince of Egypt. I'm not even gonna lie. But I also love the Joseph movie. I guess I do love movies. Here, look at me lying. But he hated music because his wife died in The Sound of Music, and but she brought back his love for music, and she done that with the kids, and the kids loved her too. I think that's one thing that was really beautiful because they came out in actual family and then they ran from the Nazis. It was so funny. But it was, to me, very beautiful because another thing, it's like, okay, well, the guy's really standoffish, but he falls in love with her and then he finds love again. And also the children, I think, was one of the most beautiful things to me because he was a single dad and I also was raised by a single dad. So I know what it's like for a single dad to have kids and then also not really be dealing too much because it's like, okay, well, these women are on a madness and you try to find love, but then the women are on a madness. You're like, okay. And then having them accept the children is a whole different thing because you can't be with someone and not accept their children. That's evil. Like, that's truly evil. But so I thought that was really the most beautiful part about it. Not that they just fell in love, but then that they also, like, the kids loved her and she loved the kids too. And I think that was really special to me because I think it's very rare that, sometimes the adult will like the kids, but the kids will hate the adult. Or sometimes the kids will like the adult, but the adult will hate the kids. And honest to God, it's a nightmare. It's not something that anyone wants to really deal with, the potential of like the kids hating them, because it's like that would really break the spirit. That would really break the heart of someone who literally really loves someone if the kids don't like them, I think, because it's just like you want that to be a positive experience. And then if it's not, you're just going to feel like sad the rest of your life. But so that was a super beautiful thing. It's one of my most favorite movies. And the fact that they were able to blend their life, I don't think people think of that dynamic very much because most people don't have blended families. So I think that's why I love that movie so much, because she was young, she wanted love, and she experienced it with this guy who had kids, and he loved her all the same, and so did the children, and they had a beautiful family together. They did beautiful things, made beautiful music together, and she listened to him. She didn't listen to anyone else. She listened to him. So it was funny. And then they ran away to the hills. The hills were alive with the sound of music while they were running from the Nazis. So, I don't know. I like that. It's a classic. I think it's a classic. Yeah. Yeah. I used to watch that with my granny like every weekend. After the sunset on Sabbath and we're done closing Sabbath, we would watch like The Sound of Music or My Fair Lady or Sister Act or whatever. But My Fair Lady, I liked it because My Fair Lady is also about a girl. They're in England, they're in UK or whatever. Or maybe they must be in UK. I don't remember if the man was British or not. The woman was certainly. Or maybe it was just the old-time American that sounded so close. But anyway, regardless, she was a stubborn lady. She didn't really have much etiquette training. And the guy took her into his home or whatever and was teaching her how to like walk and how to speak, and he would put like marbles in her mouth, and he was doing all these. She was so stubborn. It was so funny. She was such a stubborn and brash kind of somewhat inconsiderate tempered kind of woman, and through her just listening to him and all the things he was doing to teach her how to be more ladylike and speak proper and dress proper and walk proper, had her like having books on her head with marbles in her mouth so that she would get rid of her accent. Anyway, so then they yeah, she fell in love with him, and then after he went with her, and that's really funny. I think those movies also to me show that the men that create circumstances for women's success, and then they just love them through bettering them as well. Like, not that they're projects per se, but they do see like maybe the value in those women already and just tweak them to their liking. I don't know. I'm not a man. But yeah, something about those are very beautiful to me. I don't know. And I think it shows also more desire for men and more submission to men, those old movies. I think that's why I like them. I don't, yeah, you said men create circumstances for success. Yeah, you get it, Victoria. You see that in those movies, and then you see that the women actually want to be with those men and listen to those men, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then they're happy and they're peaceful and they're successful and they just have happy families, and it's just like, oh, what a beautiful story. One of my faves is Seven Brides and Seven Brothers. I have no clue what that is. Virgo perfectionism, yes. What is that? What is that? The perfectionism could be a result of you either being a Gemini, Capricorn, Virgo, or a Libra. I'm Christian. The zodiac is just like an alphabet. I think when we all heal and move in purpose, we are one. I honestly am none of those things. I don't really believe in astrology, but none of those are my astrological sign, if I really want to go there. I'm like a Pisces or something. And as far as I understand, Pisces also have like an all or nothing behavior. I don't know. I don't know too much about astrology, but people have told me some things throughout the years, and I don't so much care about astrology because I don't believe in it. But yeah, I don't know. Perfectionism is not a good thing, but as much as I can mitigate a problem and fix it or avoid it, I will. I have a very avoidant type of personality. If I can avoid a problem, I will avoid it. I prefer an ounce of prevention than a pound of cure because, like I said, the steps and measures I'll have to take to cure a problem is going to be so monumental because I don't know other way to fix it. And perhaps that's me being independent minded because, to be fair, if I make a mistake, then I should probably discuss with the other person how I fix the mistake instead of taking it upon myself to make that decision. That's probably the more logical way to go about it. But in past experiences, I'm always thinking about these things by myself. So if I make a mistake that I don't like, or I think that I'm going to make a mistake that I don't like, to avoid the mistake, I'll just cut myself off from whatever the thing is completely, to completely avoid making the mistake. Because that's just safer, because then I don't do the mistake. I don't know. That's just how I functioned before. Maybe it's not right now. Maybe it's not correct at this point in time, but I'll have to figure that out. I don't know. Someone said astrology is gay. I ain't even gonna lie. I agree. Someone said I might get all or nothing from my mother as well. Yikes, she's a Pisces. Lol. That's funny though. Do you like museums, Victoria? Someone's asking, do you like museums? I love museums. Museums are beautiful. I've been to all the must museums in DC and New York. Sounds like a lot. Do you have to pay for museums in America? I've not been to a museum in America. This is so funny because not you guys all having a conversation with Victoria in the comments and no longer asking questions. I mean, you guys are kind of asking questions, but like you guys having a full-blown conversation here is hilarious. And what's Phantom of the Opera?
I mean, it was a musical for a long time.
Memorials and museums you have to pay for. I'm trying to think of if I had to pay for the museum when I went to UK. I probably did. Maybe I did. We might have got passes or something for something to do a bunch of things. I don't know. So long ago. So I was raised by two Pisces parents. Emotionally intelligent is super high as well as their blind wrath. Blind wrath? What I will say about my emotions though, I'm either extremely calm or extremely angry. There's no in between for me. So like a lot of times like when I'll be talking to my dad and people are like, Kaysha, just chill. And I'm like, my dad's like, no, that's not even the crux of the issue. Like that's not even what it is. Like she's just passionate talking. Because if I'm mad, I'm either extremely pissed off and extreme like volcanic anger or extremely calm, cool as a cucumber. There is no in between. So like I'm not going to display anger to somebody unless I'm fuming with rage. And then at that point, I might not say anything. I might just walk away because it's like because you can't communicate with someone like that. So you just have to walk away until you calm down. So like a lot of people, I think it's weird. Some people will try to like wait it out, temper it to see like how you're going to snap. But it's like you don't want to make someone snap if they don't have to snap. Like because I try my best to control every aspect of my emotions all the time so that I don't like you can't just let your emotions control you. I just think that's stupid. So I'm always calm. But when I'm angry, I'm very angry. So like at that point, I just don't say anything. I step back and then come back and speak when I can say something. But if I'm in the moment with somebody and yeah, I don't know. I'll have to walk away. Someone said that usually means you have a hard time with healthy conflict. I don't think that's true. Because I can communicate and I don't allow myself to get extremely angry. And if I know that I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to be angry, I'm going to cut myself off before I get angry and I'm going to walk away. If somebody starts following me around while I'm angry or that I'm trying to leave and I'm saying, okay, I can't have this conversation, I need to leave, and you're provoking me and you're following me around and I'm trying to escape the situation to maintain peace, I don't know. I'm only human after all. No, I'm just kidding. Someone said I used to have that problem until I went to therapy. No, I don't need to go to therapy because I don't allow myself to get angry. And I'll tell you right now, I did not allow myself to have explosive anger despite all the times that I was hunted down in the US for the last 5 years and the amount of times that I've been attacked, the amount of times that people have tried to provoke me or if they've pulled weapons on me. I've stayed exceptionally calm in times where most people would not only try to kill other people, they would kill themselves, they would fly off the handle and do all sorts of other things. I have an extreme level of patience and calmness because my father is that way and he raised me that way. So, no. It takes a lot to provoke me, like a lot. However, I didn't care about any of those people. Not one iota. Not on a personal level, at least. When you're in a relationship with someone, my dad says it's different because that person is going to rub you the wrong way because you love that person and you're going to fight about different things and they're going to like, things they're going to do is just going to hurt you more because you genuinely love that person. I can't say how I will respond in those situations because I've never been in that situation before. So I'll have to trust. I can't trust I want to say that I'll have to trust the structure that I have had for everything that I've always done, which is to remain calm and walk away in situations that I get pissed off or I get frustrated or just communicate. But I can't even say that I would do that because I've never been in the situation to do that with the person that I genuinely love and care for. So I can say that's what I'm going to do. Is it realistic to trust that it is what I'm going to do? No. And until I'm in the situation and can actually look at the circumstances and then assess how I can mitigate certain things from actually being in it, I'm not going to know. So it's like I'll be creating different scenarios in my mind for absolutely no reason whatsoever because I don't have enough information to tell me how I'm going to deal with it. On the flip side, if you build a relationship with someone over a certain period of time in general, you should be able to understand how that person functions. That's still very different than living with them and being married to them and also sleeping with them and having children with them. That's a whole different thing that really changes a person. And I'm not going to know that until I experience it. And I have not. So I just don't know. But I would never do anything to put myself at risk, the other person at risk, anyone's life at risk, or jail. Like I would just never do anything like that because I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a confrontational person like that. Said being calm in such terrible situations is very special. It's still a defense mechanism. I'm very good at being able to navigating terrible situations because it's still a defense mechanism and it causes PTSD. What are you supposed to do when someone pulls a gun on you? Should I remain calm or should I start screaming and cussing the man out who has a gun clocked to my face? I don't think that's defense mechanism. I think that's common sense. If somebody who can kill you is standing across from you and you don't stand a reasonable chance, even if you think you stood a reasonable chance, you should always do conflict resolution. I've also taken that class in university, and a lot of the things that I do, university teaches in conflict resolution, high-level classes on how to mitigate danger. And that's just stuff that my father taught me from a child. I understand how to be in extremely dangerous situations and remain calm and mitigate those dangers. What I cannot say that I know how to mitigate is being in love with someone and they piss me off because I've never experienced that before in my life. So, and then also living with them or having kids with them, and also the dynamic of sleeping with them, that changes things a lot. The way that you interact with someone you're sleeping with is very different because it's going to rub you a whole different way. And you're just not going to know until you experience that. So, but I can say I'm exceptionally calm person, but I don't know. I might not be that calm after all. Who knows? Someone said you do the best you can, but it's still fight, flight, or freeze. Regardless, it's still a traumatic experience. It's a traumatic experience, but you have to use logic and reasoning too. You have to think, and you have to think quickly because you don't have time to dick around and be like, am I going to do this or that? Like, you just have, like, as a woman, I don't have very many options. Okay, like, as a female, I don't, even a man with a gun clocked to his head who's unarmed doesn't have very many options. I've had people pull up on me with machetes, duct tape, rope, paraphernalia in the car, abuse pit bulls that attacked me, put me in a hospital with other pit bulls. Like, you don't have many options when someone pulls up to you with a machete. Like, you're unarmed. As a female, a man doesn't even have very many options if another man pulls up to him with a machete and an abused pit bull that's gonna attack him. Like, you have to know your circumstance and your situation. You have to be aware of what you're dealing with at all times if you want to make it out alive, and that's just what it is. If you're on the street and you're living on the street, you have to be aware of your surroundings and the people around you and what they're doing. Who's the drug addict? Who's dealing? Who's the violent person? Who's hoeing for cash? Who's selling people for cash? Like, you have to pay attention to these things. You have to know who has their sanity and who doesn't. That's not really fight or flight. That's you actually just assessing your circumstances and mitigating it in real time. That's just like using your brain cells. I don't know. He said, he's like, and I'm not here to talk about it, but I'm not going to make excuses for pieces of SHIT as if they aren't pieces of SHIT. They're bad. You're not. And they harmed us and gave us PTSD. I'm not going to say that I probably don't have some PTSD. After everything I've been through, I definitely did have some PTSD because I had like loads of nightmares for a long time. And like really, but at the same time, you just don't have time to eat. Like when you're, I think that to a certain degree, PTSD is like a luxury. Like mental illness, I feel like is a luxury because if you have time to be mentally ill, you're not under enough attack. It's the truth. Dad's laughing. It's the truth. We've had so much attack. I don't have time to be mentally ill. Like, I don't have time to sit around and be like, I'm depressed. Like, you know, like for sure you acknowledge that some things, like some things bother you or what have you. But like, I don't know. I don't sit around and be like, oh my gosh, I have PTSD, or like, I just don't care. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think I just don't care. I have too much to think about every single day. Like, I have people that I love and care about. And then I have things that I have to think about to stay alive. So it's like, I don't have time to be like, oh, my feelings, which is also why, like I said, if I'm going to make a mistake, the life that I live, if I make a certain mistake, if I'm in the position where I'm going to make a certain mistake, I just have to cut myself off from the mistake completely to keep the risk, the monumental level of weight behind the risk of making such a mistake. I can't afford to make certain mistakes. Even if I wanted to, I can't make certain mistakes. And I wouldn't, because I just have the respect more than my feelings. But it's just the fact that I have to operate a certain way, whether I like it or not. That's just what it is. That's just how it has to be. So it's like, I don't know. I just have to be different. Or maybe that's me being too independent. I don't know. Someone said, what? Kaysha, why did he attack you with a pit bull? What happened? Tell us the story. No, this is when I was trafficked in the US. It's just, yeah. Every single person that's tried to kill me has had a dog, has had a violent dog, and many of them had pit bulls. A lot of human traffickers own pit bulls. A
lot of drug dealers.
And drug dealers and stuff. Like, a lot of shady people have pit bulls and they use them in their talk like you are an engineer. You can't help it. Well, my father, to be fair, you weren't done engineering your whole life. People have told me, I've had engineers tell me that I think there's a difference between people who study engineering to become engineers, and there's difference between people who are natural minded born engineers. And they said that I am a natural minded born engineer, and so was my dad. But obviously I got that from my dad, so I don't know. Wait, why did you say I speak like I am an engineer and I can't help it? That's very funny. You said I still have nightmares and wake up with the sweats. I used to have nightmares. I used to have nightmares and flashbacks every single day from the things that happened. But when I started talking to a guy, it just went away. So, like, I tell people all the time, like, you don't need therapy, you need a good man in your life. Like, and I sincerely believe that, because a lot of things that were bothering me, like, I think when you are experiencing bad things in life that mess with you, you're gonna, and this is why a lot of women will go and sleep with other men, because, and that they have the right, so they have the right outcome, but they don't have the right circumstance by which it should happen. Because when women get violated or abused and like raped or beaten up by a guy or whatever, or just abused in any capacity, whatever, um the only way they can get rid, they know inherently that the only way they can get rid of like the playback in their mind over and over again is if they have love and affection from another man. So they'll leave that guy and instantly go to another guy, try sleep with him to like create a new memory to replace it. But because it's not genuine love and desire and submission to that guy, she's just going to recertify the trauma, and it's going to ramp up the flashback she's having, the nightmares, and all the other anxiety that she's feeling towards it, and she'll keep trying to sleep around with other people as a way to take back control from what happened to her and create new memories, new positive memories. The outcome is correct. The circumstance by which she does it is wrong. You need to actually have a man that shows you genuine love and compassion, that you can submit to the authority of, and you can trust, and you can respect them and cherish them. And then doing that causes the traumatic memories to fall away by itself. And that's what that's what it is. I don't know. That's the solution, at least. Like, if you do that, then that's the solution. And then by the time you end up, being intimate with that person, I'm sure that would replace it. But yeah, I don't really have nightmares anymore. I have different dreams. I have positive dreams now. Very positive dreams. Well, positive in one way, you can say, and negative in another. But I'm sorry that you still have the sweats and PTSD, though. I don't know what the solution is for you, because you're a man. And I just don't want to dump the trauma I've gone through on my family and friend. Hurt people. You seem hurt to me. Just saying. How are you going to say that you are traumatized and still have PTSD, and that you don't want to hurt your family and dump on them and your friends, and then tell me that I seem hurt to you? How do I seem hurt? What am I hurt about? I just said that I don't have those problems anymore. Like, I don't have nightmares anymore. I don't wake up in cold sweats. Like, and you asked me a question. I just answered the question.
I think the issue is that people are still pushing us into that same situation because they're trying to cover their tracks, right? Like, I mean, that's really all that is. We talked to the law enforcement. Other law enforcement are reaching out to talk and get information about these types of things, but people are still doing everything they can to cover their tracks, because a lot of the people that are involved, they're going to spend a lot of time in prison if they're lucky for the crimes that they committed.
Someone said, you said therapy comes in many forms. You may not need a therapist, but we all need a therapist. Your dad is therapy for me. That's why I come to your lives. Okay, well, if my dad's therapy to you, why would you think that I would need a therapist outside of my father? Like, the men in my life, I lean on them for support, and they help me fix everything that I need to fix. Therapy will not give me anything that what my dad and a man can. I just know that to be true from experience. Therapy is not going to do anything for me. Like, therapy is not going to teach me what the two men have taught me, like my father and a man. So it's like, if you, and you even are saying that my dad is therapy to you just from coming to the live streams. You're not even seeing his face, but just hearing the stuff that he's explaining over the stream, you're appreciating. I live with him and I've known him my whole life. So it's like, you think I'm not gonna, anyways, whatever.
I'll kind of explain something. When you put a woman under a bunch of duress over a long period of time, like for example with all the stuff with the trafficking, it's not that she's hurt. She's frustrated. If you put somebody in that situation for a long time and keep holding them there, it becomes extremely more difficult for that person to operate under normal circumstances.
But what am I frustrated about?
I'm sitting down in life. Like, I mean, sitting down there.
Yeah, but why is he saying I'm frustrated?
He says you seem hurt with how short you are with your dad when he disagrees with you.
No, my dad and I, you guys don't understand you guys don't understand the way that maybe I'm portraying it incorrectly, but my dad knows I'm not angry with him. Do you think I'm angry with you?
No, I'm just saying that people get even less patient in these types of situations because they're abnormal, right? Like, nobody should be put in this situation.
Yeah, but some of our conversation is not even like that, though. It's not even.
I understand that, but I'm saying anything that would normally be normal would be more exaggerated based on the situation.
But we're not even upset.
We're not. But I'm saying having all the, you have to acknowledge that all of
the compounding, compounding effect.
Is going to have an effect, right?
Yeah, no. If there's a, but isn't that how every daughter talk with their dad? No, I don't talk to my dad how every daughter.
Unless we were fighting over the air conditioning.
Yeah, if we're fighting over the air conditioning, then we're actually angry because I want it hot and he wants it cold, freezing cold. But yeah, maybe I have to acknowledge that there's irritation for like just the situation in general. That's fair to say. But it has nothing to do. Yeah, no. Yeah. Fair, I guess. When last did you dream flying? I actually don't dream very often. I very rarely, or maybe I do dream, I just don't remember or don't care. But the only dreams that I would have previously before were like, dreams of like the bad things that happened. But now I don't really, and I would wake up in cold sweats too, but now I don't really. But how can I be hurt if he's saying that he has a problem that I don't even have? I'm saying I no longer have that problem, and I've not had that problem for a long time. But he's saying that I'm hurt. Who's really hurt? No offense, respectfully, man. But you see what I'm saying? You said it might be normal conversation now, but it might not have been normal if you didn't go through your experiences. I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, you need to be a little bit more specific so you can kind of get what you're saying.
He said, I'm not offended. I appreciate your opinion. It's not opinion. You told me that you have PTSD and have cold sweats and waking up from nightmares. That's cool. But it's like, I don't think, and that's the thing, like, I don't think I'm as hurt for what I've been through, for what I've actually been through, and the way that I respond about things. The way I should be hurt, I'm not hurt. And again, that's because I know really good men. That's the fact of the matter. But I'm just saying, like, the way that I don't really consider my feelings a lot in these situations, because like the way that I'm hurt is not even the way that I should be hurt. I should be way more hurt, and I should be way more short. I should be way more frustrated and way more, I should be an evil person, matter of fact. Like if you be like just realistic, like I should probably be a very evil person. But I'm not. So like I don't know. I to a certain degree I'm elite, to be fair. Um I mean, the way you communicate is normal for you now, but if you weren't trained, do you think that you would respond the same way? Or if you weren't trafficked, do you think you'd respond the same way that you do now? I'll tell you, before all this happened, I was in the hospital once before all this happened. And one of the guys there, he was a nurse, and he helped a lot of the people who were like, he was a psychiatric nurse actually, and he was talking to me, and he was like, there's no way that there is anything wrong with you, because you have more emotional and self-control than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And this was an older guy who was a nurse, a psychiatric nurse in the hospital. And he was like, your level of emotional control is not possible for somebody who has anything that's wrong with them.
Yeah.
He's like, I've just not seen this before in my life. And I was like, I get it from my dad. He's just a really calm guy. And he's like, no, this is, he was like, no, this is another level. So like, I've always been this way, but I've always had a dad that's been that way. So like, but I can't say that my level of calm or the way that I approach dangerous situations is because of being trafficked, because I was taught to approach things logically this way from my dad. And you can't assume that my responses to the things are my own emotion, because even in those situations, if I had the ability to call my dad and be like, what do I do? What do I do? Then I would call my dad and be like, what do I do? What do I do? And then he would tell me what to do, which has nothing to do with my emotions in the moment. So no, it's my personality. My dad raised me with this personality. My dad and I have the same personality.
Well,
Hey Fabian, what's up, man?
everybody has issues when they go through problems, but I mean, like, I've had to help her. She's gonna have to continue to work on stuff as she gets, move forward in life.
Obviously, like there's some things that are going to be difficult because of that. I'm not denouncing that. But like the laid back or the way that I respond to things, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking about it properly. She's like Vegeta and has evolved. What does that mean? Why are you so convinced that I'm Vegeta? Are you saying that I'm a villain? I don't understand. You guys always say that I'm Vegeta or have like Vegeta tendencies or Vegeta energy. Like,
Vegeta's really not a villain.
no, he was never the villain. That's the point. That's why I'm like, are you saying I'm Vegeta because you're saying that I'm a villain, or that I was never the villain? Because Vegeta was low-key never the villain. High-key never the villain. So I said, that's what I mean. I think you're above average in how you deal with everything you went through. You are special, honestly. I just think that you're damaged because you've been hurt. Of course I've been hurt. That's fair to say. That's reasonable and logical to say. I've been hurt. And there's going to be damage from that. But I have to fix it. I can't just sit around and be like, oh, it's funny. It's true. I can't. I was just laughing. No, I can't just sit around and be like, oh, well, I was hurt, so I'm going to stay hurt and hurt people. I have to fix it. I want to have a family. I want to have a happy life. I want to be a happy person. I want to have peace. So in order to have peace, I need to fix problems, and I need to constantly think of how I can mitigate those things preemptively. Prevention instead of cure, because I do not want to ever have to deal with cure, because I cannot stand mistakes, and I cannot stand my own mistakes. I can't stand when I'm the cause for the mistake. I hate that. I can accept other people's mistakes. I cannot accept mine, because then I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I not see that? Why did I not see that? And why did I not prepare for that? Why did I not fix that before I done that? Why did I just accept that? Like, because then there's consequences that I don't want to deal with after that I have to fix. And it's more effort to fix the consequences than to just see the thing preemptively and fix it.
Oh my Lord, this is bad. Sorry. I'm just.
Said, very glad to be back in here. Hello. Said, you mentioned Vegeta every time. Everyone else mentions Vegeta. Everyone always says that I'm Vegeta. And I'm just trying to figure out if you're accusing me of being the villain or implying that I was actually never the villain at all, because Vegeta was slick never the villain. If you really think about it. Someone said, I'm a Dragon Ball Z nerd. Vegeta has the most growth of all characters, but he lost his whole civilization in front of him and had to serve the person who committed the crime. Yeah, Vegeta slick was human trafficked. He said it when he was dying, when Frieza killed him, when he shot him in the heart, and then he was telling Kakarot, please listen. He's like, Vegeta, please stop talking. You're sapping up all your strength. Kakarot, like, low-key doesn't care about anybody's feelings, man. He doesn't care about anybody. He was like, no, please, you have to listen to me. Frieza, like, took me from my dad when I was just a boy and told me that if I didn't do anything that he said, that he would kill my whole family, kill everyone, and kill me. And I did everything that he said that I had to do, and he killed everyone anyways. And then made me serve him. He made me what I am. Please don't let him do it to anyone else. And everyone was just sitting there in shock, like, oh my gosh, this monster. They slick trafficked Vegeta. Vegeta was definitely human trafficked. And despite everything that Vegeta went through, he had the most character growth. He was the most exceptional character than anyone else, because he went through he wanted to know the truth, and he always wanted to know what was the way to be better, and he always did what was better. Whereas Kakarot was like, I'm just gonna trust my feelings and let my feelings guide me in all the fights, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna let Piccolo raise both of my sons while I die and stay dead. Bro. Kakarot's diabolical. Kakarot even offered up Videl and Chi-Chi and Bulma as offerings to kiss and make out with the Supreme Kai so that he could get extra training with Vegeta. And when Vegeta and his son Gohan found out, they both lost it on him. Like, are you out of your mind? Some screws loose with Kakarot. Also, the amount of capability that Kakarot had, and skill and tenacity and persistence and discipline that he had, despite having no character growth and no circumstantial understanding of things and no experience of things, is literally impossible. Kakarot as a character is impossible in real life. Characters like Kakarot does not exist in real life. Vegeta is the one that would exist. He's like, he outperforms without a shadow of a doubt Kakarot, because the amount of work and effort he puts into things. It doesn't matter how naturally skilled you are. If you have no circumstantial understanding of things, no experience, no intellect, and you're just strength, that's not how that works. And a lot of the things that Kakarot did caused people to die because he went based on his feelings. He didn't listen to Vegeta, and people died many times. Like, he had a lot of bad things happen because he didn't listen, and he used his feelings and gave people grace where they didn't deserve it. And Vegeta was like, no, you can't do this. You need to just kill them. And he was like, no. And it's like, bro. Someone said, yeah, you're Vegeta. That's crazy. Kaysha, can you tell us more about the trauma you've been through? What exactly happened? Seemed like everyone in this chat knows what happened but me. Just go to my my page, I have a few videos that explain it. And this is the thing, like, I answer questions when people ask me, but I'm not going to sit down and like cry about it or like whine about it. Like, I'm not really, like, I don't feel about it that way. I don't feel emotional about what I went through the way that people think I feel emotional about what I went through. Yeah, I have trauma because of what happened, but not in the ways that people expect that I would, not in the ways that people think I would, because I don't really care about a lot of things. I only care about the trauma as it relates to me having a family. That's literally the only thing that I care about, because it's the only thing that I want. So it's like, as it relates to everything else, doesn't matter to me because it's not going to affect anything else, because I'm still going to do what I need to do in those areas. The only thing that bothers me is how it affects how I deal with another person, which, you know, you only can learn through experience of dealing with in real time. So it's like, I don't know. I really don't care, to be fair. Like, when I think about it, I'm not saying that it didn't do terrible things, like it didn't hurt me like in certain ways, but to a large degree I don't care. Like, I that sounds terrible to say, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Keisha, have you watched Attack on Titan? Someone tried to get me to watch it once, but someone suggested me to watch it once and I was like, no, this is trash. And I was never really into into anime like that in general. Like, my cousins used to watch anime, or not used to. Like, I'm pretty sure they still watch anime, but like, I was never really into it. The only reason I really got into anime recently is because man watches anime and he told me about DBZ and I was like, okay. So then I watched the entire series because like I wanted to understand. And then I watched like all the movies and then I was like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of bomb. Someone said, I think everyone feels trauma, but how we react to trauma is different. Yeah. So like, no, because I won't let myself feel certain things if I don't need to. Like, I don't think it's productive to let myself sit there and feel sad that I was attacked by a pit bull. And in the moment, I didn't feel that way either. I was just kind of like, okay, this is what happened. This is what I need to do to fix it. I think you only feel things very deeply when you don't know how to fix problems. Wouldn't you say?
What?
I said, I think you only feel problems. You only feel things very deeply if you don't know how to fix problems. Because I'm not sitting here crying about like being attacked by a pit bull, like,
No.
or being like punched in the face or like held at gunpoint. It's like, that sucks. I think in a comfortable space here, like with my dad, like I'm cool. But if I'm gonna talk about it publicly in front of a bunch of random people, that might affect my physical experience, like might bring physical consequences, then I might feel some type of way because I'm like, now I'm telling people about this that might actually do something to me that I can't calculate for because there's too many things happening at once. And I don't know what the potential consequences will be of somebody coming at me sideways because I can't mitigate or calculate the risk of that in such a large audience. That's a little bit unnerving. But does it mean that I care? I don't know. Not the entire series though. No, I watched the entire series. I couldn't get through the Daima. It's only like 20 episodes, but I just thought Daima was trash. And then I couldn't get through GT because I was just, at some point I was too frustrated. So I was like, I need a break. So you get past the feelings or do you just bury it? I feel like if you process things in real time, then you don't really spend much time on it. Like, I think things hurt you long term if you don't process it and don't deal with it. Like, I've had loads of things happen to me in my life, but I don't sit around thinking about it. The only things, even when I was like having like, for example, nightmares, and like waking up in sweats, I was in high stress environments where, um, or whatever you, what?
Well, we're gonna have to see.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna wrap up after this because we're gonna be starting the other stream soon. But um, I was in high stress environments where I was so overwhelmed, where the stress had no choice but to come out in my sleep, I think, and in the sweats, and even to a certain degree, it was subsiding. Like I said, as I was, talking to someone who actually shows compassion and kindness, but um, even in those situations, I wasn't thinking to myself like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be sad about this. It's like during the day, I was kind of just like minding my business and doing what I need to do. So it's like, I don't know. I think if you solve problems and you actively work on things, like those things, you don't think of it. You don't just wake up and be like, I'm sad about this. You can acknowledge, okay, life is hell and it sucks in all these ways, but it doesn't mean that you feel sad all day. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I'm 28 years of age, for the person who asked. Do you understand what I'm saying, Dad?
Yeah.
Can you make sense of what I said?
Victoria's telling you good night.
Good night, Victoria. Sweet dreams. Someone said keep well, and Kaysha is solution focused always. Thank you. That's just what I'm saying. Like, I'm solution focused, and when someone said yes. Okay, great, you get it. When you're focused on solving a problem, you don't really. There's no reason to stay emotional about something if you fix the problem. Like, I don't sit around and think, oh, this person punched me in the face, I'm so sad. Like, there's nothing to be sad about.
But when it comes down to being vulnerable, you need to do it with the right people, not just anybody.
Exactly.
And discussing certain things. So that'll be something that you'll have to discuss with somebody else on a more personal level before, talking with other people about things publicly.
Yes, and last thing, the person said, do you think in this world with such weak men you would be able to find someone as strong as your dad to marry? I surely know already that there is. So, if that's why your father's supposed to be involved in the vetting process to deal with people, because he's not going to tell you to talk to somebody who he doesn't think is going to be adequate to take care of you or to work well with you as a spouse and do what you need to do in a healthy or happy marriage or whatever. You also lead you.
You also have to keep in mind that I'm not going to look for a man her age that's like me, because it's not going to happen. There's age and experience that takes care of that, but it's seeing
an older guy,
someone where they're at a very good place at their age.
Yeah, no one my age, an older man.
I'm saying, but no, like even somebody that is going to be the age range that you're going to marry is not going to be where I'm at because of the lack.
No, they're not you. They're their own person, and
yes.
they have their own life experience.
Yes, but I'm saying life experience period also helps.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like you're going to look for someone that's as strong as me at this point in time, because a lot of life experience helped build that.
Yeah, you still have more life experience.
That is at a reasonable point where they're at in that point in time in their life. It's
still a strong, still very strong and capable and intelligent man. So
that
will continue to develop into more strength and more capability and more like greatness. Yes. That person, I have no shadow of a doubt in my mind that person is 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Anyway, someone said, I hope so for you. God bless, and may God be with you. There's no hope, just facts that he is who he is, and it's what it's going to be. So anyway, he will always be. Anyways, guys, we're going to start our other stream talking about the feminism shortly in a few minutes. Someone said he said he can't wait for the next stream. I enjoy you guys. Until next time. The next stream will be in a few minutes. On what are we doing, on the Karis project or Matrix Reloaded?
Probably just on Matrix. I mean, it'll probably be about 20 minutes or so.
On Matrix Reloaded in about 20 minutes. So yeah, we'll see you guys over there. Okay. Hello friends, my name is Kaysha and I'm a proud member of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. And I'm also a survivor of human trafficking. My trafficking began in Saskatchewan, moved into Alberta, and even crossed into the United States. I was stalked, hunted, and ignored by the very systems over the last 5 years that were meant to protect me. This is why, with my father Dale Richardson, we started the Karis Project. This is an Indigenous, survivor-led movement for humanity dedicated to exposing trafficking, government corruption, and holding institutions accountable. One of the most powerful tools that we are using is the petitions for redress of grievances. These are lawful constitutional actions rooted in Canadian and US law, and in treaties that tie us together across provinces, across states, and even across borders. These petitions are precedent-setting. They create a binding record. They demand accountability while representing reconciliation in action. Indigenous and non-Indigenous people working side by side to preserve liberty for all. But we cannot do this alone. We need your help to keep this movement alive, to raise awareness and to build a legacy of justice for Indigenous women, for trafficking survivors, and for families everywhere. Thank you. Please stand with us. Your support makes this work possible. Together we can restore justice, heal families, and defend freedom. And I will close with my favorite quote. The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who cannot be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole.